Okay, John, we're ready.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We called the June 7th Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We are going to start out with a prayer from Commissioner Sarkella and the pledge by Commissioner Wyatt.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather and take care of the business of the county for our friends and neighbors. We're especially grateful for the weather that you provide, for the rains for our farmers, and for the many things that you do give us. We ask for all these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on, Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Gary Heberly.
Virtual.
Gary, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here virtually. I'm here. Can you hear me? I can see you and I can hear you. Can you hear me?
He's hearing a noise, but he's not sure if it's a chipmunk outside or what.
Gary, we can't hear you.
Okay, you'll have to read my lips. I'm here. Jody. Can you hear me now?
Can you unmute his computer for him?
Can you hear me?
His microphone, oh, he just turned it off.
Can you hear me?
Nope, we can't hear you, Gary.
Okay, just keep going.
What did he say? Just go on.
He'll participate remotely.
He's present. Okay. District 3 Commissioner Bill Sarkella,
Here,
District 4 Commissioner Roger Ballard,
here.
District 5 Commissioner Joel Wyatt.
Present. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Moving on to additions, corrections, deletions, today's agenda. We have a salmon colored sheet with two replacement motions, FA 076-22 and FA 077-22, as well as an additional motion on the pink paper NFA 024-22. I will entertain a motion to approve today's agenda with these amendments.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to our meeting minutes from our May 17th meeting. If there are no additions or corrections to the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to correspondence, petitions, and introductions. You should have received your correspondence from Jody earlier today. We will move on to commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Wyatt.
Attended the local emergency planning commission meeting last week, whereby the various fire department chiefs, emergency management, police chiefs attend. And what was discussed essentially was implementing a scenario driven event, maybe 3 of them before the end of the year. So they'll be going back and discussing what type of events to consider. And I think there was some housekeeping to do, essentially reports on radios and the amounts of calls each municipality had during that period of time since the last meeting, which would have been 2 months ago. That's it.
Thank you.
Since the last meeting, I attended the Elk Township Board meeting, rather uneventful. Had a few constituents there that had a dog issue, but that is since taken care of itself, I believe. So,
I myself met with, we had a meeting, roundtable discussion with local leaders, with Congresswoman Lisa McLean last week. Had a fruitful discussion about things that could benefit the district. That's all I have.
City of Croswell is continuing with their construction. Things are torn up pretty good there, but they do have their alternate route upgraded. They've done some road maintenance on that, so traffic's a little smoother going around town. You mentioned Congresswoman McLean was also in Croswell earmarking some dollars for their project with the sewers and so forth. And unlike a lot of the municipalities, they need some new vehicles. They're having difficulty acquiring some vehicles for the city to be able to utilize. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Is Commissioner Heberlin able to get his mic fixed?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. At this time, we will welcome our new county administrator, Nathan Roski, and for his first administrator's report.
Thank you. First off, open enrollment for the insurance has ended. Things went well. It was the first year that there had been the passive enrollment. So if you weren't making any changes to your insurance, things rolled over, and that seemed to be a positive for the employees. I've been spending a lot of time the first week, kind of going around, meeting with department heads, going into offices, going into facilities, just kind of seeing what everybody's working with, any projects that they're looking at. Very impressed with the staff, everything that they're doing to kind of make operations flow. And I think things have been a pretty positive reception. So I've been very pleased with things.
Good.
All right.
Any questions for Nathan?
welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Nathan. At this time, we'll move on to public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Hearing none, we're going to move on to a presentation from Human Development. We have Mary Ann Eagle here. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having us a part of your meeting today. We wanted to just come to talk about the situation that we're having with our in-home services. We know that Commissioner Sarkella did share all that with you, and we thank you very much for the resolution that you passed as a commission. But we wanted to give further background as to what was going on and where we are today. So in 2019, in November of 2019, we underwent a UIA audit. And in late February of 2020, we received our determination that our in-home contractors were considered employees. In March of 2020, with advice from our attorneys, we went ahead and did an appeal. So that was in March of 2020. And in April of 2022, we finally received a redetermination for the appeal that we did. So in their statement, they're saying that they are still employees, that they're not independent contractors, which is what we have them hired as an independent contractor. So with that being said, we have appealed again to the unemployment agency, have not heard anything since. And based on the fact that it took from March of 2020 to April of 2022, I had to look at my dates. April of 2022, we're going to make the assumption that this isn't going to turn out very well for us. As an agency, we've already paid fees and fines associated with the initial determination from February of 2020. And what this will do will cause us additional fines if we were to continue to have our in-home workers as contractors. So what that means is for the fiscal year 22-23, HDC will not be applying for any of the in-home services for any of the counties in our service area. It's very disheartening to us as an agency. I know Christy, being the director of the aging program, it's very disheartening, but we're not seeing this as coming out in our favor, and we're already going to have 2020 fees, 2021 fees, and all of 22's. We will go ahead and continue to provide the services as we are contracted to through the end of September, but we will not be applying for the in-home services. If we were to apply for them, we'd have to hire 4 staff full-time, and it would cost an additional $179,000 just for this county alone, and over $300,000 as a 179, 180 for this county alone, and over 300,000 for all 3 counties if we had to hire the people we needed to provide the units that we are being contracted with Region 7 to do. So we really wanted to come and have a conversation and just let you know where we are. We've been fighting it since 2019 or 2020. And it doesn't look like it's going to go in our favor, and we're going to have additional fees and fines and tax that we're going to end up having to pay for even the contractors that we have through the end of this year.
It's pretty disappointing. The services are important to the constituents in the community. Is there anything further that you can think of that we could be assistance of? Have you reached out to your state legislators yet?
We have.
Yes, we have. So the services, Region 7 still has that like available for people to bid on. And they may find somebody that does more services. So if somebody is a provider that provides those services regularly, they might be able to offset those costs. So we're hoping that there's another agency out there that can pick up the difference.
Wouldn't they run afoul of the same problem?
Well, they could, but the more, I guess, the higher the volume, the less of the cost. And we only provide the services for these programs. So if they have other, I guess, resources that come in, they might be able to do something.
Such as insurance reimbursements. So like your well springs and that kind of stuff, which I understand, they just stop their in-home services, but those type of companies can bid for these services. And they have the other resources that we don't have.
So, and there may not be anybody out there. I don't know for sure, but our hope is that they can find somebody to provide, and then we can make a smooth transition with the people that are currently being served. But right now we are planning to serve through the end of September, and then either make a transition or we'll have a number of seniors that really go without services. We'll do as many referrals as we can. A lot of that's private pay, and the seniors just don't have the dollars to be able to do that. So I hate to say it, but I did say before that there will be seniors that suffer because of.
So you have a budget to provide these services to former contractors. They say you got to have employees in order to keep the same amount of work going out and stay within your budget. You have to hire 4 full-time individuals to perform those physical services.
Yes. Yes, and the services are the chore, our personal care, our respite, and our homemaking. We will continue to provide home delivered meals and congregate meals and caregiver training and transportation and case coordination. We will continue to do those. It's the people that went into the homes to do them.
And there's no other way for you to use the funds available to accomplish those goals. Like you can't allocate them as grants to individuals or companies to facilitate that type of work. There's no other mechanism to distribute that
No,
funds.
They don't allow us to.
No.
Last I was aware, there was going to be a meeting with a referee potentially with UIA. Has that already happened? And
No, we haven't heard anything from our most recent appeal.
Okay.
Not, the only thing I've received is we've received your appeal. That was it. And I actually go out on the website every couple of weeks just to see if there's an update, the UIA website.
Have you reached out to other counties within your service provider area to see if they would pass resolutions similar to the one that Sanilac County passed in support of your organization?
We have met with Tuscola County. We're meeting with Huron County next week. And last week or 2 weeks ago, when we met with Tuscola County, they decided not to go ahead and pass a resolution.
Okay.
We have taken your resolution and actually forwarded it on to some legislators to show your support for these services. These services are important to the seniors in our counties, and we know that. This has been heartbreaking for all of us.
Well, and there's the important point too, and I forget what the acronym was for UIA before they were UIA, but back in the early 90s, they provided you a determination that these in-home service providers were in fact independent contractors, but now they're flip-flopping on that.
Yes, and that was in 1997 or 93. I should have written that year down, but they had given us that determination, and actually all of our appeals that we've submitted, we've sent a copy of that determination from 93 or 97, that once they looked at it, yes, they were truly independent contractors.
It was
So-
97.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
97, and the resolution says 93,
Okay, that was 93.
but it was the MESC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
And all the other commissioners that are on that board received our resolution.
Did they?
I made sure
Okay.
they all got a copy of it.
What's the issue? Is it like one bureaucrat individual that's interpreting this in some way? I mean,
You know, I don't know.
you haven't heard any feedback from any legislators or state representatives?
No, they basically said you have to wait for the appeals judge to schedule a hearing. That's it. You have to follow the process.
And you're still following that process?
Yes, we are.
You're just going to temporarily, until it goes in your way, stop providing those services after September, right?
We're not applying for the grant funds at all. And I can't say that we would apply even if we won, but I would think that we would if we could win, but I don't know. If that's 2 years down the road, then it's basically starting up an entire service again. And that's a lot of work because we'd have to go back out and hire all independent contractors. And that's difficult. I know Christie's department has a hard time hiring them.
Why can't you hire the amount of contractors that you have the funding for? Why not still keep that service alive and just change your parameters of providing that service? It's understood that you can't do everything that you're doing right now, but why not just keep what you can?
We can't have any contractors because they're saying they're not.
No, why not hire one or two of these? You've got the fund, you've got an amount of funding
We would never meet the number of units that Region 7 requires.
to provide for the grant.
Correct. Correct.
Hmm.
Because there is a downtime and the costs all increase when we hire an employee. So currently, an independent contractor, we don't pay them their mileage to travel from their home to a client's house.
Mhm.
We would now have to start paying them as an employee, the mileage reimbursement rate. We would have to provide them with all the supplies that they would need in order to provide the services that are necessary, as well as all the insurances and the taxes that all full-time employees are given.
Why would you hire them as full-time employees? Why not part-time employees?
We looked at hiring them as part-time. It's very difficult right now for us. And I'm understanding many other employers in the area to find part-time people that will stay.
So you've got existing contractors who don't have a problem with the work. They don't have a problem with what you've been paying them up until now, but they want to work full-time, not part-time hours.
Well, they want us to, a lot of our independent contractors want to remain independent contractors. It's something to do with their tax base.
Okay.
When I don't know what that is.
There's also the flexibility that comes with being an independent contractor, because we don't tell them you have to be at Jane Smith's house at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. They set their own schedule and they.
Well,
set their
it's
own-
funny because that's in your favor to having independent contractors.
Right.
When you tell them the time, they're your employees.
Right, right.
Did they give you any basis as to why?
They should
made-
have. And I wrote them down so I could make sure I could share. We maintain direction and control over the independent contractors. We have a continuous relationship with the independent contractors. Sure, we give them the clients that need the services. We train them and instruct them on HDC policies. Well, we do because we have to look out for the safety of our seniors that we're sending people into. So we have to train them on
HIPAA compliance
Exactly.
and when our pay periods are, and so there is they have to have some information for how this works, so.
we pay them per unit, which is true, we do pay them per unit. then it says it's seen as a per hour. And we pay them on a regular schedule. So we pay the independent contractors, all independent contractors, every other week.
Seems like you got quite a few things there that you can change though internally.
Well, paying them in every other week is a way to establish them getting their information back to us. So then we can report it to Region 7, because we have a monthly report that we have to submit to Region 7. And then it says no evidence that the individuals had their own business or advertised their services to the general public. Now, we know that some of our independent contractors have their own side business, but they're not willing to prove that to us or to UIA because they have their own tax benefits.
How did you come under the radar?
I think it was luck of the draw is all I think is, I mean, as far as I know, every organization and company gets audited by unemployment at one time or another. We were audited in 1993 and we haven't been audited since. I just think we were the luck of the draw.
That's unfortunate that the seniors are going to miss out on the services. Is there anything else that you believe that we could do here within the county that could be beneficial to assist?
No, we do really appreciate your resolution and we have forwarded that on to our legislators so that they have a copy of your support of these services. What they'll do with it, we don't know. And if they'll take it to the unemployment agency, I don't know.
Okay. Well, if there's any change in the situation, would you please keep us informed?
We totally will. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies.
Okay, moving on, 13A, 13D, and 14, we have none, so we are going to move right into 15, general resolutions. We are going to start with a resolution honoring Carl Renzi Lark for years of service. Bill?
You don't have.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will. Thank you. I'll probably cry.
You and me both.
Right.
We'll cry together.
Okay, let's see.
Resolution honoring Carl Renzi Millard for years of service. Whereas Renzi gave 46 years of service in several capacities in Sanilac Township. And whereas Renzi held many leadership roles, including Township Treasurer from 1976 to 1996, Township Trustee from 1996 to 2004, Township Board of Appeals 1998 to 2018, Deputy Supervisor 2016, and Zoning Administrator 2020 to 2022. And whereas Renzi generously donated the rental of his barn adjacent to the Sanilac County Historical Museum to the Port Sanilac Arts Council beginning in 1978, enabling its use as the barn theater for many summers, a gift he later made permanent. And whereas Renzi was active in both his community and church, he and his wife, Mary Ann, crisscrossed the county and the state, bringing the joy of music to young and old. And whereas Renzi is survived by his wife, Mary Ann, his children, Carla, Philip Millard Powers, Sheila, Justin Millard Sauber, Renzi, Ryan, Tazia Millard, and Angela D. Millard, his stepsons, David, Patricia Hewlett, and Don Westbrook. And whereas with his death, the community has lost an outstanding public servant. Now therefore be resolved that the county received with deep regret the announcement of the passing of Carl Renzi Millard. Be it further resolved that this resolution be presented to the family of Carl Renzi Millard and spread upon the proceedings of the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners the 7th day of June, 2022. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sarkella. We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there support?
Support.
We have support from Commissioner Wyatt. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Sarkella,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Wyatt,
Yes.
Chairman Black.
Yes. Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to resolution imposing 2022 summer property tax levy pursuant to Public Act 357 of 2004 and notice of certification of Sanilac County allocated tax rate levy.
Whereas Sanilac County is authorized under the General Property Tax Act, Public Act 206 of 1893 as amended to levy and collect county allocated property taxes. And whereas the General Property Tax Act has been amended by Public Act 357 of 2004, being MCL 211.44A, to require all Michigan counties to impose a summer property tax levy. The total number of mills allocated to the county are to be levied and collected as a summer property tax beginning in 2007. Now therefore be it resolved that the pursuant to Public Act 357 of 2004, Sanilac County's allocated mills shall be levied and collected on July 1st, 2022 at the rate collected after application of the Headley millage reduction fraction or 4.0482 mills. And be it further resolved that the treasurers that collected state education tax in Sanilac County are directed to account for and deliver the total county allocated mills collected for 2021 in accordance with the provisions of Public Act 357 of 2004. And be it further resolved that this resolution constitutes certification of the levy of the county allocated mills and authorized collection of the county allocated mills on July 1st, 2022 at the rate allocated after application of the Headley millage reduction factor or 4.0482 mills. And be it further resolved that the county treasurer shall deliver a copy of this resolution by first class mail to the treasurers that collect the state education tax. Resolution opposing, is that it?
I believe so.
Okay.
We have a resolution from Commissioner Sarcella. Is there support? We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Roll call vote, please.
Discussion.
Sure.
Just for your notification, the reason why we read a resolution like this each and every year is because the County Board of Commissioners is the chief taxing authority in the county and is required by that law that was referenced in here to do so at a public meeting, accounting for the taxes that are imposed upon the entire county of Sanilac. That's all.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Wyatt,
Yes.
Chairman Block,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarcella.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Do you have a question?
Yeah,
I don't want to get too far out of turn, but real quick.
but what you were talking about, the community pays the school tax, right? Is that what that was about?
That's the tax levy for the county.
Okay. Well, people went to the school board meeting about this name change. And I asked to put it on the ballot for let the taxpayers, if we have to pay school tax. I mean, the school should be listening to the citizens. That's my opinion. And they said they're not putting it on the ballot. It's not our choice, it's their choice.
Thank you.
But yeah, we have to pay the school tax.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on to resolution opposing House Bill 4730, Commissioner Wyatt.
Whereas, first, let me ask, who brought this resolution to us?
It was,
Okay,
Myself, the Register of Deeds.
okay. Will you be able to answer some questions on
I
that,
would.
Jordan?
I'll do my best.
Whereas Zillow has spearheaded legislation to undermine the integrity of the Register of Deeds and Treasurer's Office across the state of Michigan, greatly reducing revenues needed to fund the daily operation of both offices. And whereas Zillow, a for-profit corporation, is asking the state of Michigan legislature to pass legislation that will provide them all the records of Sanilac County taxpayers from both the Register of Deeds and the Treasurer's Office at a huge discount, or in some instances, 100% free of charge. And whereas Zillow will then sell those records for profit, putting our constituents at a higher risk of fraud or theft while placing the burden to fund the offices on the taxpayers of Sanilac County. And whereas the Michigan Association of County Treasurer and the Michigan Association of Register of Deeds, both bipartisan organizations, unanimously oppose these bills. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners stand in solidarity with the Sanilac County Register of Deeds, Sanilac County Treasurer, to oppose House Bill 4730 and to stand up to the corporations that data mine records for profit while placing the burden on Sanilac County taxpayers. Be further resolved that the copy of this resolution in opposition to the above bills be forwarded to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Senate Majority Leader, and the Governor of the State of Michigan, and spread upon the proceedings of the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners the 7th day of June, 2022.
We have a resolution from Commissioner Wyatt. Is there support?
Support.
We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Discussion.
Well, I'm not sure what this is all about in terms of how that impacts our profitability of public information. So do you mean to say that they are looking for legislation that does not allow us to charge them the cost of providing that information?
That is correct.
So I come in there and I want a copy of this, that, or the other thing. And you, of course, don't force me to FOIA it because you say, well, it's public record. You can have it for the cost of the processing of it, a nominal fee, right?
Right.
And they don't want to pay that nominal fee. They want it to be free.
That's right. And they, I talked to Nancy, if you permit me. I talked to Nancy Rich just yesterday and I said, do you sell these records? And she said, I just sold Zillow a tax file for $8,250. So that is the fee that they want to see waived. I sell delinquent tax files to companies like CoreLogic, and they pay my fee of 50 cents per parcel to the tune of about $1,500. And these are the companies that use this information and resell it and want the legislators to pass this bill to make it free for them so they don't have to pay. Now, we have information on our website, but you can't print reports off of there. You can print one at a time. Like I can go into my tax record and print a report that shows when I paid the taxes, the last sale date, that kind of thing. But they can't get entire parcel reports, which they want. So
they can, but they have to pay for it.
Well, yes. Right
because it
now
takes
they do.
time.
Yes. And we build that file. And I believe equalization, correct me, Wendy, do you have, there's GIS things that run through our offices where they get reports. Nancy sells like shape files. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of revenue. I believe Nancy's line for that revenue annually is $20,000. So
the law allows us to collect a fee that's commensurate with the amount of work necessary by the county to do that. You can set your own rate.
It's
within parameters.
Yes, it says it's 25 cents. And then if they want more than just a parcel number, then it's another 25 cents. But they usually want a parcel, an address of the owner, you know, that kind of.
And that law says, it doesn't say that you shall charge, it just says you can charge that. Yeah. So we could just simply say, we're not charging whatsoever.
It might say shall, because we've had the Washtenaw County Treasurer arguing that specific point, and I think it says shall. So I'd have to look at that.
Regardless, I think it's reasonable that, you know, whether you're just Joe individual taxpayer or you're a corporate entity looking to data mine, you pay the rate.
That's correct.
Goes along with the cost to actually have those employees process it.
And we have copy charges when you even come in our office.
Right.
That's $1 a page or whatever
It's the cost of doing business.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trudy.
Thanks to the deeds office and Wendy for being here today too. We were all, and I believe the clerk had some clerks reach out to her on the same issue.
Resolutions from other counties that I've received in
Yeah.
the past.
Well, kudos to Zillow for putting forth an effort to do that, because obviously it's going to save them a ton of money if they're
Sure.
successful with it. Let's hope that they're not.
It's in committee at this time, as far as I know.
Any further discussion regarding the resolution opposing House Bill 4730? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Wyatt,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Chairman Black.
Yes. Motion is carried. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolution supporting Michigan Works, Commissioner Ballard.
Okay, whereas the U.S. Department of Labor, USDOL, has published a notice of proposed rulemaking on Wagner-Pfizer Act staffing docket number ETA-2022-003, which would require states with no exceptions to use state merit staff to provide Wagner-Pfizer Act employment services, ES. And whereas the proposal would reverse current federal policy that allows states maximum flexibility in staffing to provide ES services. And whereas a 1998 settlement agreement, Michigan versus Herman, has allowed the state of Michigan to use local merit staff employees to deliver ES services through the local network of Michigan Works agencies to over 86,000 job seekers in 2021. And whereas our primary concern is the negative impacts of this proposal to Michiganders and the primary customers of the workforce development system, both job seekers and employers, and whereas a key benefit to greater staffing flexibility is strong local strategic relationships with businesses, higher education, nonprofits, childcare, elementary and secondary education, adult education providers, and other partners, which allows for more efficient customer service to connect job seekers with in-demand jobs and training opportunities, and facilitates a pipeline for those students to local employers. And whereas GSC Michigan Works Workforce Development Board, comprised of business, labor, and community leaders, is currently responsible for the effective and efficient delivery of 7 Michigan Works American Job Centers in Genesee, Huron, Lapeer, Sanilac, Shiawassee, and Tuscola County, using 20+ ES local staff. And this rule would take away local control of employment services. Whereas with this required staffing model, staff and service reductions are inevitable, as services currently provided by over 400 Michigan Works staff would be reduced to approximately 100 state of Michigan staff, resulting in significantly longer wait times for job seekers and delays in services for the 32,000 businesses served annually. And whereas this change would risk potential loss of several of the 99 full and satellite Michigan Works American Job Centers across the state, and would negatively impact our constituents by decreased assistance, filling job openings, reduction and elimination of job fairs, cutting of industry-led collaboratives, and decreased or no access to job training programs. Whereas limiting ES staffing to state staff, which would eliminate the advantage of streamlined current staffing model in Michigan, which leverages other program funding from WIOA, Title II Adult Education, SNAP, TANF, TAA, and others to supplement the Wagner-Pfizer state allocation. And we're almost through. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Sanilac hereby urges the US DOL, United States Department of Labor, to abandon this proposed rule change, and urges Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the Michigan Congressional Delegation to support local control by the workforce development boards and oppose this rule, and notify the USDL Secretary that it will have an adverse impact on the Michigan one-stop workforce development system. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the U.S. Employment and Training Administration, Department of Labor, Governor Whitmer, our U.S. legislators, and state legislators.
Thank you, Roger. We have a resolution from Commissioner Ballard. Is there support? Support. We have support from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there discussion?
I have some discussion. Is anybody here from the Michigan GAS?
No, I do attend board meetings. This just came via computer, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I think.
So it looks like the Department of Labor had a rule change that was effective February 5th of 2020. Is that the rule that they're looking to overturn or modify? Because apparently that rule is already in place. And in that rule, in the executive summary that you can find on the Federal Register, it talks about, and specifically it says that the Department of Labor is adopting this interpretation that allows the states the flexibility to use staffing arrangements that best suit their needs. This flexibility will allow states to provide the Wagner-Pfizer Act services through state merit staff, other state staff, and then subawards to local governments or private entities, or a combination of those arrangements, which would include the local merit staff. So whether it's county driven or otherwise. I'm not really sure, because this seems to suggest that actually is already available under the current law, which passed and was in effect February. And I'm wondering what they're referencing.
I'm not sure what
Here.
you're referencing in February, but this goes back to 1998. And I find it ironic that through the pandemic, when unemployment was overrun with calls and couldn't handle them, Michigan Works employees stepped up and answered, I don't remember how many hundreds of thousands of calls and took care of it. This really undermines what Michigan Works has built over the years. And they provide a tremendous service.
But
and
February of
training
this
and-
year, the rule that was implemented by Department of Labor specifically addresses the local provisions for merit staff. As it described here, you talk about, local merit staff versus state merit staff. Now, it has that flexibility to allow the states to do it, or for local merit staff as best suits the need for that service. I got to tell you, unless we get somebody that can really give us a good summary of what this is, because it was long and lengthy and talked a lot,
It is.
but I don't have an idea really how that squares with the existing rule. I would like to postpone this to a later date whereby someone from GST can come by and give us a summary of it and where that's at. Does that seem reasonable, Roger?
I won't support it, but somebody else might.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a motion that this is postponed to the next meeting so that we can have somebody here, because so far we've asked questions about the resolutions. Either they're very easy to understand and we can come up with an understanding, but I can tell you, having read this multiple times, doing a little bit of research, I'm not sure what is what, and I don't want to put my name on something that doesn't reflect what I understand.
Okay. So Commissioner Wyatt, you're trying to offer a friendly amendment to the resolution to postpone this for 2 weeks to our next meeting?
Yeah, give them an opportunity to get some buy-in.
Okay. Roger, do you accept that friendly amendment? You
I didn't make the motion.
Well, you read the
I read
resolution?
the resolution. No, I don't.
Okay. Does anybody else want to support Commissioner Wyatt's amendment to the motion to defer it for 2 weeks? Hearing none, resolution stands, has support. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Wyatt,
No.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Chairman Black.
Yes. Motion is carried. Moving on to committee reports, we'll start with Commissioner Sarkella.
See you, ladies. My first committee report's HDC, so you can go because you took all my thunder, so we're good. But a couple things Mary Ann didn't talk about was they're at 59% of their annual budget right now, which is $7.3 million, and early head start's almost fully staffed. So fortunately, there's some opportunity now for employees to come back to work. Hopefully, though, not other circumstances they're dealing with. And I also had a note here that they were most grateful for our resolution. So obviously, they expressed that to us today as well. Child Abuse Prevention Council, you probably saw things about the art contest. Last meeting we had, we were able to judge the art contest winners. So that's where they had an 8-bike giveaway, and there was some publicity on that. They're on budget as well right now, and they've actually been able to add a staff person as well. So we're finally starting to see some of the vacancies in our various boards and committees being filled. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Sarkella. Negotiation team met with the union today to continue moving union negotiations forward, and the union negotiation team will be meeting later today to discuss what came out of the other meeting earlier. That's all I have. Commissioner Ballard.
I had a community mental health public education committee meeting a week ago, and that was it.
Okay, Commissioner Wyatt.
I jumped the gun and gave that committee report earlier.
It's okay. We got it.
So
Anything else?
LETC, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now we'll move on to unfinished business. We do have one item. We had deferred the authorization to decline tax foreclosed properties for 2 weeks for the commissioners to have an opportunity to review that list. We have had that opportunity. Unless anyone has something else they'd like to bring up regarding that, I'd entertain a motion to decline the tax foreclosed properties.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion on the topic?
I reached out to a couple of county entities to see if they had any interest specifically in the Brown City property, and somebody was really interested in using it.
I did as well.
Okay. I'm glad that we deferred it for 2 weeks, and it actually turned out to be 3 because we had a 3-week pause, but it's good that
We
we
had
had
time.
a chance to review that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to new business, we will start with FA 067-22, approval of current claims.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2022 identified on the accounts payable report dated May 31st, 2022 for the general bank account in the amount of $168,869.69.
Support.
Did you read that? You read it off this sheet, correct? Okay, good. All right, we have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 077-22, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following budget amendments, transfers, and establishes the following accounts as listed.
We have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella. Is there support? Support. We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 078-22, adoption of CER CEO policy, 24th Circuit Court.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the following CER CEO policy as to the stipend portion of the policy with implementation following full board approval.
Support. We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 079-22, authorization to post and fill vacancy, clerk's office.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the county clerk post to fill a court clerk position at a pay grade 5, step 1.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Wyatt. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 080-22, authorization to post and fill vacancy, friend of the court.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the friend of the court post to fill a receptionist position at a pay grade 4, step 1.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 081-22, authorization to hire temporary employee, treasurer's office.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the county treasurer hire a temporary employee beginning the middle of July 2022.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion?
This, do we have a date on that? That looks different. I remember there not being a date specifically.
Well, there technically isn't a date. It's.
No, just the middle of, yeah.
I
mean-
believe this is revolving around a.
Yeah. Pregnancy. Support.
Okay, any further discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 082-22, authorization to hire independent contractor, 24th Circuit Court.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes Carolyn Stoutenberg as an independent contractor for up to 50 hours at a cost not to exceed $50 per hour for the purpose of training the new juvenile director for immediate approval with funding from general fund contingency.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 083-22, authorization and award recycling center concrete bid.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes awards of bid to Rick Capital Excavating for the recycling center concrete project at a cost not to exceed $29,689 with funding from the recycling center millage.
We have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella. Is there support?
Support.
We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 084-22, authorization to change road commissioners' benefits.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the road commission to provide health, dental, vision, and life insurance benefits effective July 1st, 2022 to currently elected and serving road commissioners and their spouses during their term of office. Further coverage for road commissioners shall be the same as provided to other road commission employees with out-of-pockets and provisions as established for all their management, non-union employees at the road commission. Road commissioners will be responsible for the premium costs provided to other management employees. Any previous resolution to the contrary is hereby null and void effective July 1st, 2022 forward. All premium and administrative costs shall be paid by the road commission except road commissioners' premium co-pays and premiums.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Wyatt. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 085-22, authorization of change order, Parks Commission.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes a change order for Lexington Park Stairway Boardwalk Project in amount of not to exceed $3,840 to Booms Construction for immediate approval with funding from the Parks Millage.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 086-22, authorization and award playground resurface bid, Parks Commission.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes and awards the bid to Superior Ground Cover for safety surfacing at Lexington and Forester Parks at a cost not to exceed $6,144 with funding from the Parks Millage for immediate approval.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic?
That did get completed before the holiday weekend, which was good.
Okay, good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 087-22, authorization for removal of gasoline storage tank, buildings and grounds.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the removal of the gasoline storage tank and equipment, remediate potential soil issues, and restore the concrete blacktop. Further, the budget is estimated at $75,000, assuming no cleanup of contaminated soil. If there is contaminated soil due to fuel leaks, the estimated cost is $200,000 with funding from the ARPA.
We have a motion from
Support.
Commissioner Sarcella. We have support from Commissioner Wyatt. Is there any discussion on the topic?
How does this work with the parking lot project that we're doing in terms of the remediation?
It doesn't really affect it. Because where we're gonna be pulling is gonna be getting concrete put back in to cap it. And it has nothing to do with the, it's not gonna run into any issues with the seal coating or anything like that.
Okay.
So that area where that tank currently sits, that's concrete now.
Yes.
So that's coming out,
Yeah.
concrete back.
New concrete back in, which would be, I guess, up for the next meeting.
Thank you, Nick. Any further discussion related to FA 087-22? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 088-22, authorization for campsite hookups, Parks Commission.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes Evergreen Park to connect 61 water electric campsites to the septic system, making 100% of the campsites full hookup with the exception of 10 rustic sites. Further, the total cost of the project is $607,655. And with the budgeted ARPA funds of $300,000, the project could potentially be completed in 2023.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 089-22, authorization to purchase filtered water filling stations, Board of Commissioners.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes filtered water bottle filling stations, retrofit bottle filler on each level of the courthouse. Further, the budget estimated at $8,000 with funding from ARPA funds.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella. Is there support? Support. We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 090-22, authorization to replace hot water tank and softener, Sheriff's Office.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the 3 Sterling triplex programmable water softener along with 2 325-gallon storage tanks. Further, the budget estimate is at $92,312.64 with funding from ARPA funds.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, what was the lifespan on these roughly? Did he mention that?
Yeah, most things in this wheelhouse are 7 to 10 years life
And
expectancy.
the reason why I'm asking is because we're using ARPA funds for it, right? We can have ARPA funds in 10 years. You gotta have some kind of maintenance program to pay attention to that as we move forward.
Why, if I may interject a
Please.
little bit here, what is going on over there is when they installed that tank, they built their fire suppression system and the rest of the plumbing around the tank.
Mhm.
So that's why the cost is so high this time,
Mhm.
because they pretty much have to revamp the whole area where it's gonna go. They're gonna take everything out, build everything back in and put the hot water tank where it's accessible. But the hot water tank has reached its lifespan. It's just there's a bunch of extra costs there because of having to revamp the room to get it where it is accessible for future.
Future change outs will cost a lot less.
Yes.
Cool. And I believe in the conversation I had with Lieutenant McConaughey, I believe he is aiming towards creating some type of a long-term plan for building upgrades and replacement. So hopefully we'll see more on that.
Okay.
Any further discussion related to FA 090-22? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 023-22, approval of the 2022 taxable value report equalization.
Sunlight County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the 2022 taxable value report of $1,760,771,827 for Sunlight County as presented, and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary documents and the equalization director to implement.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to our add-on item of NFA 024-22, approval of juvenile detention center bed rental agreement, 24 Circuit Court Family Division.
Sunlight County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the attached Ottawa County Juvenile Detention Center bed rental agreement as presented and further authorizes the board chairman to sign.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic?
Well, it's a problem. And, I'm gonna talk about the juvenile director today, in the discussion. It's gonna continue being a problem locating facilities to house juveniles. Yeah, we heard Sheriff Rich talk about it. I don't know what the solution is gonna be moving forward. It's gonna be expensive.
Right. Well, and just so the board knows too, this was brought to my attention for me to potentially just sign this agreement. I did ask that this be added as an agenda item so that everybody was aware of it and the full board had a chance to have input. So
I know the juvenile director and I, we talked a little bit about, thinking outside the box, how to facilitate the requirements that the law puts on, counties to house these juveniles. And a lot of people are thinking about it, thinking of ways to deal with that. Because right now, sometimes that group has to just stay awake for 36 hours, watching over the individual.
any further discussion related to NFA 024-22? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That will take us into general public comments. Are there any general public comments?
Hi, I'm Christy Groce, Groce. I am with AdvisaCare Home Health Care, and I'm an executive director with them. We are going around to all the county commissioners and asking them to either allow us to come in and put a presentation together to adopt a resolution that there needs to be a fix to the auto no fault reform that recently happened. We do feel like the reform was needed for auto insurance. We do feel like home care agencies were an unintended consequence of that. There has been over 30 home care agencies that have closed their doors due to that. We are at the Capitol weekly meeting with our legislators. But what a lot of the misconception of that is the people that were paying into their auto insurance, if they were in a catastrophic injury and needed 24/7 care to come into their home to care for them, they, let's say, just say Progressive, AAA, they are now reimbursing us at the rate of between $12 and $16 an hour. The rates were cut by 45%. And no one, I'm sure, in here could survive on a rate cut of 45%. And so that has caused a lot of home care agencies to close their doors. We have made tremendous movement. We've had over 23 counties that have adopted a resolution. Huron County is on their agenda next June 14th that I will be at. Lapeer County just recently passed it, but a lot of, again, the misconception of it is that their loved ones could come in and care for them. They have changed the law on that now too. A compilation of all family members, friends, anyone that had known the person that was in the accident now can only total 56 hours a week, which is 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if they need 24-hour care, it does not cover all of their care. It is forcing people to get put into nursing homes or pass away. There have been 8 deaths in Michigan from this change that has happened. There is thousands upon thousands of people that have been in catastrophic accidents that need home care, and they're unable to get it. Now we're in the age of, if people are paying for unlimited personal protection on their insurance, if you do get in a car accident, you have that, but there is not going to be a company that will take your case because we are not getting it reimbursed in a rate that we can sustain that. So we are urging counties to be an arm of the state with us. To the more resolutions we get that this needs to get changed, something needs to happen, a fix to the fix that we can present and continue to do. We are meeting with senators, we're meeting with legislators, we are meeting with reps. We're doing everything we can to get this because we're hanging on by a thread. We're one of the last ones standing to be able to care for these individuals. So we would just like to get placed on the agenda or be able to come in and give a presentation so we can answer questions that you may have with that. And I also have copies of the resolutions that have passed that I could email you. I have them in my car. If you want a paper copy, a lot of people don't like paper copies anymore, so I bring them in. But I could email them to you, but that's just what we're requesting.
So what I would suggest would be to email your information to administration in the county. They'll forward it on to us.
Okay.
And then we can review it and have it added onto an agenda. And if it does be added to our agenda, I would appreciate it if you'd be here to answer questions.
Sure, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Hearing
John,
none,
can you hear me
we have
now?
no closed session, so we have no approval of closed session minutes. Commissioner Huberling did attempt to be here today with us remotely. He is out of state. His, I believe, eldest granddaughter is graduating from high school today, so awful good reason to be out. So with that, I'll
Mr.
entertain a
Chairman,
motion
can
to
you hear
adjourn. So support. We have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 2:02.